Imagine this. You're standing on Earth, unaware that beneath your feet lies a gigantic ball of molten rock with a heart as hot as the surface of the sun. The Earth is an incredible force, with currents of rock carrying unimaginable amounts of energy from deep within its core to the surface. The crust, which feels solid to us, is actually fragile, like the skin of an apple. But when nature decides it's time, that delicate barrier can break open, unleashing an eruption powerful enough to reshape the planet. So, what happens if a supervolcano blows up? What if the ground beneath us suddenly erupts with unimaginable force? Well, the consequences would be catastrophic, and we'd see changes that could last for centuries. Let's take a deep dive into this volatile topic and explore what would happen if a supervolcano decided to make its presence known. The Earth's fiery heart. Earth is not just a peaceful, quiet planet. It's a colossal ball of semi-molten rock with a core so hot it could melt metal. The heat within the Earth comes from two major sources: leftover heat from its formation and the radioactive decay of elements deep inside. This heat has nowhere to go but up, pushing against the Earth's crust, which is like a fragile lid protecting us from the chaos below. Tectonic plates, massive chunks of Earth's crust, are constantly moving, rubbing against each other at a slow pace. These plates shift and scrape over millions of years, causing some plates to push upwards to form mountain ranges, while others sink down into the hot, molten depths. The power of volcanoes. Volcanoes come in many forms: tall mountains, lava domes, and more, but they all share a common origin. Volcanoes form either at tectonic plate boundaries or from mantle plumes. Tectonic plate boundaries are like fault lines in a jigsaw puzzle. The plates are constantly shifting, and when one plate sinks below another, it melts into the hot underworld, releasing magma. This magma rises because it's less dense than solid rock, creating pressure that eventually leads to eruptions. These eruptions may be large or small, but they have the potential to cause significant damage. Mantle plumes, on the other hand, are mysterious hot columns of rock that rise from the core of the Earth. These plumes can create volcanoes right in the middle of tectonic plates, far from plate boundaries. They don't follow the rules of plate tectonics and can create volcanoes in the most unexpected places. The explosive force of supervolcanoes. Now, let's talk about supervolcanoes, the true titans of volcanic eruptions. Supervolcanoes are capable of eruptions that dwarf any other volcanic event on Earth. A supervolcano doesn't just spew out lava, it can cover entire regions with ash and gases, change the climate, and cause devastation on a global scale. To measure the power of volcanic eruptions, scientists use something called the Volcanic Explosivity Index, VI. The scale starts with small eruptions that might fill a few Olympic swimming pools with lava, but as the scale climbs, the eruptions get progressively more destructive. A VI of 6, for instance, would cause a supercolossal eruption, with enough material thrown into the atmosphere to change the world as we know it. A supervolcano in action. Supervolcanoes operate on a different level entirely. They lie dormant for hundreds of thousands of years, building pressure in massive magma reservoirs beneath the Earth's crust. Over time, the pressure becomes so intense that the rock above is pushed upward. Eventually, the pressure becomes too much, and the crust cracks, releasing billions of tons of gas and ash into the atmosphere at supersonic speeds. This type of eruption would not only change the landscape dramatically, but would create a massive hole in the Earth's crust called a caldera. After the eruption, pressure starts building again, and the cycle repeats itself, although it could take hundreds of thousands of years for another eruption to occur. Past supereruptions. The most recent supervolcano eruption occurred 26,500 years ago in New Zealand, and it was powerful, like dozens of Mount Everest-sized bombs going off at once. That eruption reshaped the landscape and caused drastic cooling in the southern hemisphere. But compared to some other eruptions, it was nothing. The Lake Toba eruption, which occurred 74,000 years ago, was even more significant, releasing enough material to blanket large parts of South Asia with ash and causing a dramatic temperature drop globally. The cooling could have lasted for years, followed by droughts that stretched on for centuries. The catastrophic effects on Earth. If a supervolcano were to erupt today, it would be an event that would change life on Earth for a long time. The eruption would release huge amounts of ash and gases into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight and causing a drop in global temperatures. This phenomenon, known as volcanic winter, could last for several years, leading to widespread crop failures and food shortages. But here's the thing: supervolcanoes aren't likely to end humanity as we know it. They would cause significant environmental damage, but the chances of a supervolcano eruption causing total extinction are low. The most likely outcome is that life on Earth would be disrupted, and the climate would take centuries to stabilize. Should we be afraid? So, should we be afraid of supervolcanoes? Well, there's no need to panic. The chance of a supervolcano eruption happening in the near future is extremely low, and even if one did erupt, it wouldn't be an apocalypse. We'd face significant challenges, but humanity is resilient. We've faced other natural disasters throughout history, and we've learned to adapt and overcome. The real danger isn't the occasional supervolcano eruption. It's the smaller, more frequent volcanic eruptions that can still cause serious damage to local populations and economies. These eruptions can disrupt lives, damage infrastructure, and impact the climate, but they're not likely to end humanity's story. It's true that supervolcanoes are a powerful reminder of the immense forces at work beneath the Earth's surface. But instead of fearing these natural wonders, we should continue to study them and learn how to predict their behavior. With advancements in technology, we're already making strides in detecting changes in magma reservoirs, which gives us a better chance of providing early warnings for those living close to active volcanoes. While the Earth may still harbor the potential for massive, world-altering volcanic events, it's important to remember that we're not powerless against them. As technology advances, we might even find ways to use the energy from these eruptions for good, tapping into the geothermal energy of volcanoes and creating sustainable solutions for the future. So, the next time you hear about a supervolcano, don't panic. It's a reminder of the dynamic planet we live on, constantly changing, full of powerful forces, but not something we need to fear. Stay curious. Bye-bye.